Hello, welcome, hope this finds you well. Now, what we are having here is a solid figure that has been drawn in isometric, and we are going to have three views, that is orthographic views in first angle projection. Looking at it keenly, you will realize that it has, according to this arrow, we want to take this one as a front part of that solid. Now, and then once this one is the front, on the right, we shall have the end so that it can be drawn on the left hand side as according to first angle projection. What can we see in the front? In the front elevation, we shall see this rectangular cylindrical extension that will appear as a rectangle in our view, and then it will show this side, and then it will also show this side and also the inner side, so that we have this and this and this one here. Now on the end elevation, we shall have this circular part, we shall have this slope, we shall have this, and these circular holes will appear to be hidden details. And then at the front, the top gives us the plan, and it will show that cylindrical face on top of this plane, which is having holes, and this part is also going to be visible in the plan. So what I've done is first of all drawn a framework for our not front but end elevation, and here it is. Now this extension is measuring 90 because this is 15 plus 60 gives us 90. This curvature is 15 plus this other curvature quadrant, sort of a quadrant is 15, totaling to 30 plus 60, which is 90, drawn here. Now this vertical side is this 10 in thickness. Now we have this center line here that on which we are going to draw our circles up there, which are 60 millimeters above the plane. So we have measured 60 so that I can now start drawing our circles. Now the first circle here is the outer circle, which has the diameter of 60. So we are going to take 30 and then we draw our circle, then come here, draw a circle because it's going to be visible. Again, we draw the inner circle, which is 25 radius. Having drawn the circles, we are going to draw this flap on this other side. Now these ones are going to be tangent. We draw this tangent. We draw that. Draw this other tangent. Once I've drawn the tangent, I want to draw this circular part, this one and this one. They will appear as hidden detail, 15 millimeters inwards. So we are going to measure 15 inwards, and we put those circular holes. So here it is, we can measure 15 inwards. The center lines, we are drawing the center lines that are 15 inwards. So this center line here, it is 15 from the one side. So we measure 15 and we draw that center line. We also measure 15, that is 1.5. Now we draw the center lines. Once I have the center line, I will have to include my holes, which are the hose radius is 10, so I measure 10 because the diameter is 20, so I measure 10 on one side, measure 10 this other side, then also this side, measure 10, measure 10. I've used hidden lines to draw the circular holes because they are not visible, and now we want to draw this part. This part here is a strip of 10 millimeter, therefore measure 5 on one side of the center line, another 5. So we have to put our, so we are going to measure 5 somewhere there, that is 5 millimeter. Then again measure 5. Then we draw them vertically upwards. Now we use full lines because, as you can see, it's visible. So this is visible, and this other part is also visible, and the holes are hidden, and then this flap and this flap. Of course, we shall draw with visible lines once we are through. So we are through with this. We want to draw our front. Our front part is this and this one here, and this and this. So we have to draw the strip of 10 millimeter, then above which we can extend a rectangular cylindrical hole inwards somewhere here, which is 50. So we measure 50 from here. Measure 50. So 50 somewhere there. Once we have 50 there, we are going to extend or project lines from our end elevation to meet our front. First line comes from there. It goes another line from there. It also goes. Okay. Once we have that, we are going to also, of course, we shall extend this. Now we are going also to extend the cylindrical, the inner circle, but once it reaches here, it will not be a continuous line, but instead it will give us as a hidden line inside that. And again on this other side, do the same. So we are going to join through 50 so that it comes there. And now here it is, and then we also include this. But before we include this, we have to know to draw this strip, which is 10 millimeters. So we have to measure 10 millimeter above, and here it is, it's measured, so we just draw inwards, then we complete the way it is. So we draw it upwards from that point. It has to go, but it will not cut through the cylindrical extension. It will just come actually from here and enters just a bit of extension, reason being this line here. It's what's causing us to have this extension, although it doesn't have a dimension. So, and then now we connect this. There it is. Again, we need to include this circle. You know, when you observe from this other side, this circle and this one coincide, but now it will appear as a hidden detail. Let me just do some sketch somewhere here. So we have to include it inside this. Where is it? It is located 15 millimeters inwards from one side. So we just measure 15 and then we locate that circle. Then we can draw the hidden lines. So we are going to draw it. This is a 15, the center line, as you can see, from one side it is 15, then the circle itself is 10 millimeter in radius. So we measure 15 as our center line, then out of which we can now have our 10 on this side, and on this side again 10. That is the radius. Then we can complete. It is a hidden detail, so we are using broken lines. So this is what we are going to have in our front elevation. Now, front elevation, good. Now here we are going to proceed so that we can now draw our plan. For our plan, we just project lines from our front downwards. We have to project straight lines from here, project downwards. Project downwards. There it goes. Now if you take your compass, you can bring this, so this arc to give us the starting point of our plan. Our plan will start there. So again, to the last mark. Let me erase this. There it is. It goes that way to give me that point. That's the point we are going to have our plan end. Then we connect this line. So we are joining. We join. Now once we have joined that, in our plan we are going to expect to see this cylindrical extension which is in the midway, and because this is 90, we find the 45th mark from which we can now have our 30 degree, not 30 degree but 30 millimeter up, 30 millimeter down to give me this, because the diameter is 60, so we need that up and that below on the on this center line. So we can measure our 45th mark and put that center line. Here it is, and we draw it, from which we can now have our 30, because the diameter is what? The diameter is 60, so we need 30. So 30 below, here it is, then we need 30 above. Here it is. Now we complete again with your edge. Again on this other side, we do the same. Now again, we have the inner circle, which will now appear as hidden lines. It is 25 millimeter in radius, so we measure 25 up, 25 below. Just come and measure 25 up and 25 below. This is 25, so my 25 will be somewhere here. Then you draw, and this ones we are now drawing hidden lines. So we just draw them. There are hidden lines. Then because it's a cylindrical part, it's not extending to the end. It means it extends at around 50, so we just measure 50 inwards along here, and then we get the same applies to, you can still bring this and extend it downwards, project so that it gives me where it meets. And this one, you only need your t-square and your set square, project it downwards. So this way, with this, and bring this. So we are extending from this side downwards. So we have just to come, it reaches here somewhere there. So you complete, because it will be visible, you just come and include it here to the end. Now next, we are going to draw the flap. The flap is this extension, of course. It cuts inwards a bit in the cylindrical part and also from this other side. So we are going just to extend these lines again from here. Then they come from the starting point inwards a bit, from this other side inwards a bit. Okay, now we draw the circular part and the curvature of the corner. How do we do it? We measure 15 millimeter from one side. From one side we get the center, and then from that center we can draw the circles and the curve of the corner. So we are going to take your 15, from measuring 15, then of course if you stand here, we can get it here, it is. So again, we can take this 15, make an arc, then take this 15, make an arc, gives me a center here. Same applies to this 15, make an arc, 15 here, then another. So those are the center points, this one. So we are going to draw the first circle, which is 10 millimeter in radius. We measure 10 and we draw the circle. So we come with your 10 and you draw that circle. The circle will not cut the cylindrical because it's hidden at one point. It's hidden. Same applies to this other side. Inside the cylinder it is hidden. Inside the cylindrical shape, that is that shape that appears to be a rectangle. Of course, it illustrates the cylindrical extension. So this circles, as you can see, some part of it is hidden. That's why we are using hidden lines. Now let's draw the outer curve. So the outer curve, we are using the radius of 15 with the same center. Just come here to 15 and draw this. Same. Same apply to this other side. Just so those are what we needed to do, and therefore from there we are going to complete. And then before we complete, we also have this. We have this extension, the slope, which will be visible, but inside this, if you look at it from top, it will be hidden. So it is 10 millimeter thick, so we are going to have 5 below, 5 above on the center line, Again, we have to bring our measurement tool and we measure 5 above and 5 below, then have those lines drawn. We have the lines drawn, we draw them again. Now, as you can see, it enters here and it becomes hidden because this trapezoidal shaped component inside below the cylindrical extension, you can't see it, and therefore these lines are the ones that are going to be shown as hidden lines. But now this one here is visible, that's why we can see this line and this line. Okay, so we are going to draw all the visible lines and we shall be able to see which ones are visible and which one is not visible in our final drawing. So having joined all our points that are visible, that's what we can see in our diagrams. And then if you lower it down, you'll see the plan having the circulars, these circular holes, and then having these edges. Of course, we've just used the French curve to do the joining of the circles. It might be somehow not so much accurate, but the thing is it should be that way. Then on our front elevation, as we had said, we are having that, this one and this, and on the end elevation again we are having this, and then this flap and this vertical, this one here, and then this strip here having the hidden holes as we have drawn. Thank you very much. At your own time, if you do the same, you can now include the dimensions, but in this case I've not included the dimensions. So enjoy your day, and don't forget to subscribe and share the link to your friends and relatives so that we can all go together.